Everyone's obsessed with writing the perfect prompt right now. They believe that if they just add the right keywords, sprinkle in some magic formatting, and use the right persona, ChatGPT will unlock the secrets of the universe. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are doing it wrong. Not because their prompts are too short, or too vague, or too badly phrased, but because they don't understand why they're prompting in the first place. Prompting isn't just about getting answers. It's about thinking better. It's a mirror that reflects the quality of your question. And if your question is unclear, scattered, or surface level, the response will reflect exactly that. The first big mistake people make is this. They treat ChatGPT like a search engine instead of a thinking partner. They ask it things like, what's the best way to grow on Instagram? Or, how can I make more money online? These questions are Google tier. They're generic. And when you give generic input, you get generic output. If you want intelligent, layered, useful responses, you have to ask intelligent, layered, useful questions. Which means you need to do some thinking first. Here's something no one tells you. The quality of your prompt often depends on what you already know. If you have context, clarity, and a goal, ChatGPT becomes a genius. But if you're confused, aimless, and just poking around, it becomes confused too. Because the model is only as sharp as the mind using it. Another thing most people get wrong, they don't give ChatGPT a role. They just say, write this, or explain that. But what if you said, act as a copywriting professor with 20 years of experience, or imagine you're a tech-savvy founder who's skeptical about trends? Suddenly, the answer has tone, perspective, and authority. You're not just getting words, you're getting a personality. But even that isn't enough, because prompting is also emotional. Most people don't realize that their resistance to good prompts is rooted in fear. They're afraid to go deep. They're afraid to ask the real questions. Why do I self-sabotage? Why do I want success but avoid action? What would my life look like if I stopped lying to myself? You see, the best prompts aren't the cleverest ones. They're the most honest. They crack something open. They make you uncomfortable in a good way. They help you meet yourself. This is where ChatGPT becomes more than just a tool. It becomes a form of self-reflection. But let's zoom out for a second. Let's talk about the structure of a good prompt. You don't need to use a formula every time. But a great prompt often has three things: a clear goal, a defined role for ChatGPT, context, enough background for it to understand the why. Let's say you want help with productivity. Instead of saying, give me a productivity system, you say, act as a behavioral psychologist who specializes in ADHD. I struggle with task initiation and time blindness. Can you design a weekly system with 3 core routines I can stick to without burning out? This prompt shows that you know yourself. You're specific but not rigid. And most importantly, you're giving the model room to think with you, not just for you. Another thing people get wrong, they prompt reactively instead of proactively. They wait until they're overwhelmed, stuck, or spiraling. And then they open ChatGPT like it's a therapist. Which, to be fair, sometimes works. But what if you made prompting part of your daily routine? What if every morning you asked, what am I avoiding today? What belief is holding me back from taking action? What would the most peaceful version of me focus on today? Now you're not using AI just to fix problems. You're using it to build awareness. This is where most people miss the point. They think prompts are shortcuts to results. But really, prompts are a way to train your focus. Welcome to Prompt Yogi, where we don't just write prompts. We rewrite the way we think. They teach you how to think clearly, ask better questions, and move with intention. Another huge misconception is that more detail equals better prompts. Yes, detail helps. But if you over-engineer your prompt with jargon and bullet points and 18 sub-instructions, you kill the magic. Because ChatGPT is great at making connections, but you have to leave it some space to breathe. Let me tell you something important. The most powerful prompts aren't always technical. They're human. Things like, what version of me do I need to become to handle what I'm asking for? What story am I still telling myself that keeps me small? If I trusted my future completely, what would I do today? Prompts like these don't give you answers. They give you access to a deeper truth inside yourself. That's why Prompt Yogi exists. Not to just teach you how to talk to AI, but to teach you how to talk to yourself better. Here's another thing people get wrong. They treat ChatGPT like a genie. They expect perfection on the first try. But prompting is iterative. You don't get it right on the first attempt. You try, you read the response, and then you tweak. You refine. You clarify. You collaborate. ChatGPT isn't here to replace your brain. It's here to extend it. So if the answer isn't what you hoped for, ask yourself, was my question good? Did I give it context? Did I ask from a place of clarity or confusion? Because AI reflects you. It mirrors your thinking. And that's what makes it so powerful. When you use it well, it doesn't just give you answers. It teaches you how to ask. So let's recap, not with a list, but with a shift in mindset. Writing a good prompt isn't about being smart. It's about being curious. It's about slowing down enough to ask what really matters. It's about daring to think for yourself and letting the AI support that thinking, not replace it. And maybe that's the real lesson. Prompting isn't just about productivity. It's about self-awareness. It's about clarity. It's about reclaiming the art of asking good questions in a world that's obsessed with fast answers. So the next time you sit down to prompt, pause. Take a breath. Ask not just what you want, but why you want it. Because that's where the real magic begins. You don't need better prompts. You need better questions. And you already have them inside you. You just have to ask. Welcome to Prompt Yogi, where we don't just write prompts. We rewrite the way we think. And if that resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe. Because here, your next transformation is just one prompt away. You just have to dare to ask it. See you in the next one.